Hello, my wonderful soap opera sleuths. It is a gorgeous day to unravel some massive secret. If you weren't looking closely at Curtis's hands during that final heartbreaking goodbye with Jordan, you completely missed the real story. Everyone was focused on the tears, the tragedy of him heading to Pentonville, and the devastating separation from his newborn son. But his knuckles were white. He was already bracing for a war he knew was coming. We all thought the worst was over for him, but I am telling you, ladies, the writers have slipped a tiny, almost imperceptible clue right under our noses. That tension in his shoulders wasn't just about losing his freedom, it was a foreshadowing of the absolute nightmare waiting for him behind bars. The camera lingered just a fraction of a second too long in the shadows of his new cell, and if you ask me, that was no accident. A massive storm is brewing for the week of August 17th through the 28th, and the dominoes are lined up so perfectly that when the first one falls, the entire canvas of Port Charles is going to shatter into a million unfixable pieces. Let's start with the first domino, the one that will trigger a vicious cycle of betrayal. Picture this. Curtis walks into his cell, the heavy iron door slams shut, and out of the shadows steps his new cellmate Jen. At first, you might think Jens is just going to taunt him, a little psychological torture for the man who helped bring his empire down. But if you ask me, Jens has a much darker, far more manipulative scheme in mind. He doesn't just want to make Curtis suffer, he wants to break him and remold him into a weapon. I suspect Jens is going to test Curtis pushing his buttons to find that one vulnerable spot. And we all know what that is. His family. What happens if Jens slides a photo of Jordan or the baby across that cold metal table? What if he reveals a hidden agenda that proves he still has deadly reach outside those prison walls? Curtis is going to face an impossible choice. Does he keep his head down, praying for an early parole while his family is hunted? Or does he strike an unholy alliance with the devil himself, becoming a pawn on the outside? If Curtis is forced to do something unthinkable to protect his loved ones, his entire chance at redemption vanishes. The fallout would destroy his family from the inside out. While Curtis is fighting for his soul in Pentonville, another domino is teetering right in Carly's living room. We've all been led to believe that Hudson is simply a corporate shark brought in by Carly to dangle the CEO position of JJE in front of Jocelyn. It looks like a classic overbearing mother maneuver to pull her daughter out of the dangerous spike. But guys, look at the way Hudson watches the room. He is not just a corporate lackey. I firmly believe Hudson is executing a massive manipulative scheme of his own, and his real target has absolutely nothing to do with JJE. What if Hudson is secretly investigating the true origins of little Phoebe? We know Ethan fled town the second Hudson arrived, and that is not a coincidence. I suspect Hudson knows that this child is somehow tied to Delilah, and he is digging through the dirt of Port Charles to find the truth, but he is about to hit a brick wall named Ava. Ava is fiercely protective, and the moment she realizes Hudson is sniffing around her family's secrets, she will launch a counterattack. Ava will do whatever it takes to protect Phoebe and bury the truth, meaning Hudson is about to realize he has kicked a hornet's nest. This isn't just about corporate espionage, this is about legacy, family, survival, and Ava takes no prisoners. Now, how does this affect Jocelyn? Carly thinks she can just pull the strings and manipulate her daughter's future, but Jocelyn is no longer a naive teenager. She has the instincts of a seasoned agent now. If Carly pushes too hard with this CEO offer, Jocelyn is going to push back, and she is going to do it in a way that completely blindsides her mother. I think Jocelyn is already suspicious of Hudson's true motives. Instead of taking the bait, what if Jocelyn flips the board entirely and nominates Jordan for the CEO position? Handing that kind of power to Jordan would instantly strip Carly of her control over the situation, signal that Jocelyn knows exactly what kind of manipulative scheme is being played. But Jocelyn won't stop there. Enter Tristan. We know Anna is going to introduce Jocelyn to Tristan, and while it might look like a simple social introduction, nothing in Port Charles is ever just a coincidence. I suspect Tristan holds a crucial piece of the puzzle regarding Hudson's past. With Tristan's help, Jocelyn might just connect the dots between Hudson, Carly, and whatever dark secrets are buried in the JJE files. If Jocelyn uncovers that her own mother brought a dangerous predator into their orbit just to control her, the mother-daughter relationship will suffer a catastrophic fracture. Speaking of catastrophic fractures, we have to talk about Jason. For decades, Jason has been the unbreakable enforcer, the right hand of the mob organization. But the trauma of his captivity has changed him. When Jason announces that he is officially leaving the mob, everyone is going to think it's a phase. Sonny will certainly refuse to accept it. But Britt, our sharp, observant Brit is going to be the first one to look into Jason's eyes and realize he is dead serious. He isn't walking away out of weakness. He is walking away to protect Danny from the vicious cycle of violence that has cursed their lives. However, Jason stepping down does not mean he is safe. In fact, it might make him more vulnerable than ever. By removing himself from Sonny's protection, Jason is inadvertently creating a massive power vacuum in the underworld. And you know exactly who is waiting in the wings to seize that power. Drew. Drew has been hovering, recovering his strength, and harboring a deep, dark resentment. With Jason out of the way, Drew might see the perfect opportunity to strike, elevating himself to a position of untouchable power. Jason's noble sacrifice for his son might just be the catalyst that unleashes a brand new monster on the streets of our beloved city. This brings us to the explosive dynamic between Drew and Nina. Drew is going to play a dangerous psychological game. I foresee him approaching Nina with an olive branch, offering a fake reconciliation. He will make it seem like he is tired of the fighting, that he just wants peace. But we know better, don't we? This is a classic hidden agenda. Drew is setting a trap, hoping to lull Nina into a false sense of security so she will slip up and reveal her blackmail level. But Drew is severely underestimating Nina's survival instinct. Nina is not the same woman she used to be. I suspect she will see right through his manipulative scheme. Instead of falling into his trap, Nina might just turn the tables and uncover evidence of an even bigger, more sinister plan Drew is hiding. If Nina discovers what Drew is really up to, she will use every ounce of that leverage to protect Willow. She will hold that secret over Drew's head like a guillotine. But protecting Willow might be a full-time job these days, because Willow is about to walk right into a disaster of her own making. Let's look at the Legacy family estate, the ultimate battleground for drama. Willow moving back into the gatehouse is going to send Brooklyn into an absolute tailspin of rage. But Tracy does not do anything by accident. If Tracy is allowing Willow to stay there, it is because Tracy is using Willow as a pawn. I theorize that Tracy has a grand master plan, and she needs Willow exactly where she is to keep Brooklyn and Chase distracted. Brooklyn is going to fight this tooth and nail, and in her blind fury, she is going to make a fatal mistake. The more Brooklyn protests, the more erratic she will become. I strongly suspect that during a heated screaming match, Brooklyn is going to slip up. She might accidentally blurt out a detail that proves she was the one who framed Willow for the hit and run. Imagine the sheer terror on Brooklyn's face when she realizes what she just said. Willow is not going to let that go. Willow will start digging, and when she finds the undeniable proof, she won't just confront Brooklyn privately. Oh no. Willow will orchestrate a public takedown, potentially having Brooklyn arrested and sent to prison right in front of a devastated Chase. The destruction of Brooklyn's marriage and freedom will be absolute. While the family members are tearing each other apart, a quieter but equally deadly storm is brewing with Rick. Rick has always been his own worst enemy, and seeing Elizabeth grow closer to Dante is driving him completely out of his mind with jealousy. Rick cannot stand the thought of losing the woman of his dreams to a straight-laced cop. But Rick is a lawyer. He doesn't fight with his fists, he fights with dirt. Instead of just throwing a tantrum, I believe Rick is going to launch a full-scale, clandestine investigation into Dante. He is going to dig into Dante's recent actions, looking for any tiny mistake, any procedural error, or any buried secret that he can use to destroy Dante's career and his relationship with Elizabeth. We already know Dante crossed a massive line by tampering with evidence to protect Rocco. If Rick uncovers that unholy alliance between a cop and a crime scene, he will not hesitate to use it. Rick will burn Dante's life to the ground just to save Elizabeth, completely oblivious to the fact that his toxic obsession will only push her further away forever. And speaking of Rocco, the sins of the fathers are about to crash down on the children. Rocco and Scott have been getting incredibly close lately, finding comfort in each other amidst the chaos of their family. But when Drew finds out about this bond, he is going to lose his mind. Drew's hatred for anything connected to the mob bloodline will cause him to drastically overreact. I foresee Drew laying down the law, strictly forbidding Scout from ever seeing Rocco again. But any mother or grandmother watching knows exactly what happens when you tell a teenager they can't do something. Drew's tyrannical ban is going to backfire spectacularly. Instead of obeying, Scout is going to start questioning her father's true motives. She will wonder what Drew is so terrified of, and that curiosity will lead her to start investigating her own father. Scout might just stumble upon the very secrets Drew is desperately trying to hide from Nina and the rest of the world. By trying to control his daughter, Drew will inadvertently create the instrument of his own downfall. Meanwhile, the younger generation is facing a threat that is much more insidious. Kai has been looking over